I think we are live now, right? Okay, 6:04. Hi guys, welcome to dressyourfacelive.com. I know for a lot of you, this is your first live stream. So welcome to your very first live stream if you are one of my new ones. And thank you so much for being a part of the Dress Your Face Live membership. We call ourselves the Dress Your Face Live Army. It's really cool actually. We've literally formed a cult. But now I feel like we're more of a family. We've become so close over the past 2 years, and I feel like I've really gotten to know a lot of you guys out there, and you've gotten to know me not only as a teacher but as a person, and now with my new journey becoming a mom soon. You guys have been so supportive and so sweet, and I'm really excited about that new chapter too. But just so you guys have that peace of mind, I don't ever stop on I don't ever plan on stopping DYFL. Like, this is something I've committed to. So as long as you guys want to learn, I'm here to teach. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you the look that you guys really loved from my photo shoot with Impressions Vanity. That's actually the lighted vanity that I'm using right now. So I'm looking at you through a mirror so that a mirror does not block us what I'm trying to teach you. So hopefully this angle works for you guys. Otherwise, if I was like facing you and holding up a mirror, I feel like I would be blocking a lot of the techniques that I want to show you. So we do it this way when I have to be my own model sometimes. This post on Instagram, can you guys see it? This post on Instagram, go ahead and ask me your Q&A questions. Basically how it works for those of you who are new is we're gonna go ahead and teach this class. You're gonna follow step by step, or if this is the first time you're watching a class, I do recommend just writing notes for the first time because there's gonna be a lot of new information for you, and you might wanna, make a shopping list or write down your steps and kind of understand my way of doing things. And then basically once it's uploaded on the website, you can log in, watch it on your own time again and again as many times as you want, and then you can actually start practicing with me side by side. If you guys consider yourselves a little bit more advanced and kind of ready to just do this with me, then go ahead and grab your goodies and we can do this together. I'm not gonna go super fast, but in case I am too quick for you, just know that in the re-upload of this video, well, this is live right now, but of course if you're gonna watch the uploaded version, you can always pause and rewind and do all that stuff and kind of just learn at your own pace. So that's one of the things I really love about Dress Your Face Live. It's live, but you can also keep watching it over and over so you have a full understanding of everything that's going on. So what happens is after class, once we're done with the look, I go ahead and answer some of the more popular questions. So I usually spend about 10-15 minutes making sure that you guys understand everything. And if you have any other questions about other stuff, I can answer that too, as long as it's beauty related. So the questions that you may have, go ahead and ask them in this post right here. And just go under the comments and you can go ahead and ask me those questions and I'll read them, shout you out, and make sure you guys are doing good. So we're gonna go ahead and just get started now. I am going to actually use a couple of new products today. So for those of you who are my seasoned members and have been with me from day one or for months or whatever, this class I really wanted to show you a couple of new things. I usually just use kind of the same stuff over and over, but with all the new things that have come out this fall, I thought I would share with you my feelings about it. So a couple of those things would be the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation sticks. So I just got these and I picked out a lighter color for highlight and a darker color for contour, and I'm gonna blend in between using like foundation and things like that, powders. So the two colors that I'm gonna use for highlight and contour, which is basically the first thing that I'm gonna do here, is beige for my highlight zones and cocoa for my contour zone. So beige and cocoa will be the two main colors that I'm going to be using. In addition to that, I'm also going to have on a little bit of the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer. This is Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer. This is actually one of my most favorite foundation slash concealers. It's so full coverage, and you guys know that when I do my own makeup, this is usually what I use for under my eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit of this right now just to conceal around my eye area over here. So to get started, I'm just going to go, oh, and also I got a bunch of new brushes from Morphe. So I can tell you what those are. You can use my code so you can save. I don't expect you guys to spend a lot of money. I'm not a big spender when it comes to tools and brushes. I just want good stuff, but I want them to be affordable because I collect so many. So I'll help you with that discount. It's code DYF on morphebrushes.com or in store at any Morphe store. There's like 2 locations here in Southern California, so you can absolutely enjoy the discount there. So the brush that I'm going to use for myself for my concealer is Morphe M428. This is Morphe M428. This is what it looks like. And I'm just going to dab a little bit around my under eye zone. And I did not put on any primer or anything because I'm doing my own makeup. When I do other people, I always use primer. But when I do my own, I tend to just slap on makeup and I'm not really that careful. And I have drier skin, so as long as I have moisturizer on, I don't really find a need for primer. So I actually don't use primer on myself. I just go straight into makeup. So right now I'm just kind of dabbing to make sure that the discolored areas, under eye darkness, those kind of things are all concealed. And then I also have like this darker patch right here. I did laser hair removal last year, or like maybe earlier this year. I think it was last year, and they burned me. And now I have this like permanent scar. It's so ridiculous. I'm so mad. But it is fading slowly, I think with time. But I like to just make sure that that's kind of covered with this as well. So I just do that right there. Other than that, I don't really cover anything else with concealer. I just kind of let it be. But I do want to show you this look as a glam look. So I'm going to go crazy with the highlight and contour. So next up is that. Because I'm doing it on myself and this is a couple of products that have never been used before, I'm gonna go ahead and just use it straight from the sticks. So beige, Anastasia, this is how we're gonna do it, you guys. I hope you can see okay. We're gonna start off by applying beige under the eyes on the cheekbone. Here, why don't I do this? I'm gonna put my hair out of the way so you guys can see super clearly. So I'm applying beige under the eye all the way up to the top of the cheekbone, okay? I'm also going to be applying this on the outer corner of the mouth so that I look like I'm always smiling. I'm gonna go ahead and brighten up my chin right in here. I'm going to brighten up the center of the forehead up until the arch of my brows. So I stop at the arch of my brows. I'm going to drag this line all the way down to the tip of my nose, just like that. I also want to brighten up my Cupid's bow. And lastly, ever since I lost so much weight earlier this year and late last year, I do want to add a little bit more of a defined jawline. So I am going to brighten up from the corner of my mouth to my earlobe. So corner of the mouth to the earlobe, corner of the mouth to the earlobe. That would be right underneath where our contour is going to be. So I'll give you a second if you want to take any screenshots. You can go ahead and do that. This is my highlight map. Now for the contour. This is Cocoa. And I'm going to do this from the top of my ear, going towards between the corner of my mouth and my nostril. So somewhere in between is where I just kind of stop it. So again, starting with the top part here and just kind of rolling it into that area in between my nostril and the corner of my mouth. I'm also going to do the sides of my forehead. I'm also gonna do a little bit on the sides of my nose, and I'm gonna close the bottom. And remember, when you're doing nose contour, you wanna hug the highlight line. You don't wanna go too wide because it's gonna make your nose look wider, so this is how I do it. I'm also gonna do the Cupid's bow, the in-between part, so it has more of a three-dimensional dip. And a little bit under my lower lip, just to give it a pouty appearance. And if you want to, you can do the jawline, but because my jawline's really small, I'm not gonna do it. I don't wanna make it any smaller. I just wanna leave it as is. So this is my personal highlight and contour map. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and take your screenshots. Maybe I'll take a selfie, and that way you'll know what the map is, especially if you guys haven't done this before. This is kind of a universal map. Like, this map pretty much looks good on most face shapes. Very, very universal. So I'll let you guys take your screenshots. I'll take a selfie for Snap. Awesome. All right. So hopefully you got that down. Now I'm going to use my Morphe Flawless Sponge to blend everything. So I'm gonna start off by blending in all the highlight zones. And notice that I did not put the highlight over my concealer under my eye because I didn't want it to look like too ghostly or anything. So I left it more on the cheekbone, but when you do blend it, it ends up going up there to your concealer area anyway under your eyes, so it'll be okay. You're still gonna brighten up enough. So I'm just dabbing it in to make sure it all blends in. I don't want to see excess product sitting anywhere. And there are times where I just want to go over with my finger just to make sure that it's all looking really smooth. Okay, so I'm just going in and now blending all the highlight zones. Making sure that the corner of my mouth is nice and brightened, this under area is nice and brightened. Okay, so far so good. Get that T-zone. And be very careful on the nose. Sometimes what I do is I'll just go in with my fingertip to soften up that highlight around the nose area, because sometimes a sponge is going to be a little too thick. And then for the edges, I also like to use my finger just to make sure that everything is blended pretty nicely. So now that the highlights have been blended in, I'm just going to kind of wipe off this sponge a little bit, and we're gonna start working the contour. So I'm just gonna remove the excess amount and start blending it into the rest of my makeup. Keep in mind, when you're blending, you don't want it to spread too much. So now I'm using the back of the sponge, the bottom part of the sponge, to help overlap a little bit between the highlight and the contour here, and also to wipe off that area underneath so it looks really clean underneath there. So again, I'm using this side to kind of just wipe off excess product and begin that initial blending process. I'm going to use my finger for the beginnings. Now I'm going to use the back and I'm going to bring it up and just kind of help to overlap the edges a little bit and to clean off that lower edge so you can see a better cut right there. So same with the forehead. I'm going to let it kind of blend into the hairline a little bit. And using the back, I'm going to do the overlapping between the highlight and the contour zones. And if you need to use your fingers, I have nothing against using fingers. I actually love to use my fingers to do some extra refining. And now, we can go ahead and finish up the smaller areas. Be very careful around the nose, like I said. You don't want it to spread all over the place. So I do use my fingers a lot for the nose area. And if you're not in love with the fingers, another thing you can do is literally just use like a small brush. This brush right here is Morphe E18, and it's just a small eyeshadow brush, but you can absolutely use it to blend small areas of contour. So like the nose contour can very easily be blended with a small brush like this. And we're literally just going to wipe off the excess amount because we definitely don't want too much going on here. Okay, so now that we've pretty much blended all the lights and darks, we still have to clean it up and make sure it looks really three-dimensional and perfect. So that's where the powders come in. I use powders to make everything super, super full coverage and perfect. So we're going to use MAC Studio Fix powders. We're also going to use the contour book by Anastasia. This is the contour book. It's pretty amazing because it literally has every color you can possibly want. There we go. Every color. So you can definitely get a nice, even application with this. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and dip into NC25 MAC Studio Fix powder. And I'm going to start off with this little brush here. This is the G37 brush from Morphe, G37. And I'm going in with NC25 and I'm going to set all the highlight areas with this. And I'm going all the way up to the side of my nose with this as well. Notice how I'm literally packing it in. So that it's super full coverage. Again, if you guys are just joining us, you can ask your questions on my latest Instagram post. It's my selfie of the look that we're gonna do today. And if you have any technical issues, since this is a lot of your first time watching, you can ask your questions there too. I do have customer service that can help answer, and you could always email customer service too for more detailed questions. This is questions about your membership or logging in or, you know, tech support type of situations. If you guys ever feel like there is an echo, by the way, it's we use a really amazing microphone to give us clear voices to the camera during the actual recorded session that we upload to the website. But in live streams, sometimes you can hear an echo. So one of the ways to help with that echo, if you guys are hearing one, is to log off and then log back in and see if that helps with any echo or voice issues. That usually does help. Most of my students say that that helps, so you can try that. Or try lowering the volume of your PC so it's not like so overly crazy. Okay, so notice how I brought up my highlight all the way up to the side of the nose, not covering the contour, but I did go pretty high. And now I'm gonna finish up these areas here where I highlighted. Alrighty, now we can work on that T-zone. So I'm gonna finish up the area between my brows, focus on the center, and then roll upward to almost overlap a little bit with the contour. And now, using a smaller brush, let's see which one I'm gonna use. This is the E19. It's like a little tiny paintbrush. It's so cute. Morphe E19. I'm gonna use this to sculpt out the highlight zone of my nose. You can actually use your finger too. I usually use my finger because I'm always in a hurry when I'm doing my own makeup. But if you're a brush girl, you can just use any small brush to do this. And I'm just basically creating a nice straight line all the way down and if you want to create a sharper like nostril area, you can actually make like an upside down T. So we brighten up that area and we brighten up the center area and keep the surrounding areas a little bit darker. And it literally looks like you got a nose job. It's insane the difference that a sharp little T makes on the nose. So this is for those of you who really want a very like, I hate to say it this way, but yeah, a fake looking nose. This is basically what it looks like. All right, cool. So now I'm going to also go ahead and brighten up this area here. All right, final touches. If I feel like I need a little more brightening, I can always do that. No biggie. But I think we're good here for now. So now I'm gonna switch my color to a slightly darker shade, and I'm gonna wipe off this brush a little bit with a paper towel. And I'm gonna go in with NC42 from MAC. This is NC42, this color right here. Same brush. And I'm now gonna set my darker zones. This is the contour zone. So I'm just setting that, making sure that that's all mattified and dried. I'm just doing a little bit of dusting. Making sure I'm getting right in the hairline. And everything looks super three-dimensional. I'm also gonna go ahead and bronze the lower area of my jaw and my neck with this color, because it's very subtle. It's very, very subtle. And any areas that you feel are just so pale or white or like just not looking right, you can use this over. So like the jawline, how we brighten that up, I'm using a thin layer of the NC42 over it just to kind of create a little bit more warmth in that area. So anything that looks ghostly. And then lastly, just with the tip of the brush, I'm just gonna set the sides of the nose a little bit, just to mattify. Nothing crazy, I don't wanna do too much. All right, now we get to have a little bit more fun. Now it's time to go above and beyond with the contouring using Anastasia's contour book. I'm basically gonna be using the same brush, and I'm dipping into two colors. I'm using Banana and I'm using Golden Peach. Banana and Golden Peach. And I'm gonna use this to further brighten my highlight zone. So this is for those of you who want a very, very bright and high contrast contour. So if you wanna go super glam, I like to layer the Anastasia contour kit over my MAC Studio Fix. And that just makes it look even more three-dimensional, even more glamorous. It looks so much brighter in pictures. It's actually pretty intense how wild this looks on camera. It's amazing. And I think that's one of the reasons why you guys ended up really loving the photo shoot, because the face looked really flawless. The eye makeup looked really flawless. It was just overall a really HD makeup look. So that's what I'm basically teaching you. This is by no means an everyday makeup look, unless you are, you know, a makeup artist like me and you just need to look glam, or you feel like you need to look glam all the time. Or if you're a makeup lover and you love it, that's totally fine. But for the rest of you, you know, who aren't really into wearing heavy makeup every day, this is definitely something that I would consider a photo shoot style makeup rather than something that is typically worn day to day. All right, so now my face is pretty three-dimensional. We have the bronzing here, we have the highlight in the T-zone and under the eyes and everything. It's looking really nice. So at this point, if we want to go crazier with the bronzing, same brush, I can go into this color called Havana. This one, and I like to mix it with Fawn. So Fawn and Havana, they're both found in the original contour kit, by the way. And I'm gonna darken up this outer portion of my cheekbone. And I'm gonna overlap it by doing this little zigzaggy thing very lightly, so that my cheekbones basically just look higher and more bronzy. So Fawn and Havana, using it right on that outer portion. I'm blending it upward in a zigzaggy kind of a way. And that just kind of gives you this beautiful, flawless transition between the dark and the light. And then whatever's left on the brush, you can darken up your forehead or wherever else you feel the need to darken up. If you want to go a little crazier with your nose contour, you can, but I'm usually just not a fan of going too nuts with it. But you can always go back in with your E18 brush and kind of re-sculpt out the areas that may have disappeared with all of your powdering. And anytime you feel like you went too dark, just add some lighter color to it, and it ends up looking a little bit more natural. So at this point, I think I'm feeling good about my highlight and contour. Now I'm basically just kind of ready to, well, let me brighten this up a little bit. I'm ready to add shimmer, and I'm ready to really just glow. So now that I'm all mattified, it is time to glow. I'm going to go ahead and use, there's this brush that I want to show you. It's the E57 brush from Morphe. It's a really dense, like, flat brush. And I'm gonna go ahead and use another new product that I think you guys are gonna go nuts when you see this. It's the new Anastasia Glow Kit, and it is their holiday edition. Basically, it comes with all these super gorgeous colors. It's insane how shiny these are. So I'm going to use a mix of these on my cheekbones and down my T-zone just to make sure I look glowy all over. So first I'm going to use this color called White Sand. That's this one here. I'm just going to use one side of the brush for now. And I'm going to press it into my skin right along my the top of the cheekbone. Now that I've already pressed it in, I'm very lightly going to rub the same color until I see a major shine. Kind of like so. So if you really want to glow, you can always go into a lighter color called Snow and just add that on peak zones, but I prefer to use more golden tones to warm up my skin. So now I have this on the top of my cheekbone. You can see a glow here. You can't really see a glow here. This is definitely something that I love. So I'm going to go ahead and do this on the other side as well. I want to press it in to really get it to stick. And then I'm going to roll and soften up. All right. Now I'm also going to do it on the area above my brow, just to give an overall shine around my forehead. But not too much. I like to really do more on the cheeks and a little bit less on the forehead. And then with my fingertips, same color, White Sand, I'm just gonna brighten up the tip of my nose right across that T, and then on the bridge. Just like that. And then whatever's left on the brush, I'm just gonna go ahead and brighten up my chin and my Cupid's bow. And those are the main areas where you're going to add this like glowy highlight. It's going to be mainly up in here, a little bit on the forehead zone, down the middle of the nose, here and here. Completely up to you how much shimmer you want to use. Basically, if you have oily skin, usually my clients that have oily skin prefer not to have too much shimmer all over their face because they feel like they're going to get oily anyway, so they don't want to overdo it or look greasy. But my dry skin clients prefer to go overload with this part. I have dry skin. I don't technically usually go overload, but it is trending, so I might as well kind of just do it. If I want to do more, I can always literally use my finger and just paste it across. So if there's a few of you out there that really love a crazy glow, use your finger and lightly rub it around, and you can actually get a much stronger glow that way. So that's just another way to do this. You can actually do your whole makeup with your hands. It's actually not hard at all. You can definitely do that. Okay, so now sometimes what I like to do, just in case you guys have like dark circles or indentations around your eyes, like I have indentations around my eyes. So one of the things that I like to do in addition to this is I'll go back in with the brush that I used to highlight around my eyes. I go back in with Banana and I re-brighten just on that groove, and then I feel like my dark circles look even more hidden. So I look much more awake this way. I also like to add a little bit of Banana on my laugh lines. And it just kind of creates a little bit of a lift for me. So that's basically it for the face, except there's only one more thing that I normally do, and that is a little bit of blush. So I'm going to show you how I do my blush. I'm going to use Morphe E49. This is Morphe E49. And I will use, let's see which blush I'm going to use. I have a couple from MAC that I wanted to show you. This one is called Copper Tone from MAC, Copper Tone. It's a really nice warm shade. So Morphe E49 brush with Copper Tone, and I'm just going to lightly apply right in between my highlight and my contour. And basically with my finger, I'm just rubbing my highlight right back over it. If I want to add more highlight over it, I can just go back with the same brush that I was using originally for the highlight and press it back in. But I kind of like to do my blush after the highlight's on because it just softens up everything for me and it looks a little bit more natural. So that is the blush, Copper Tone by MAC. And I'm just applying it basically on my apple and all the way up to the cheekbone. And then you can go back in and, you know, add your highlight right over it. So far I hope we're doing okay. I hope you're understanding everything that I'm doing and, you know, you're not getting too confused or anything like that. But this is basically the whole, you know, contour and highlight technique. Now, before we get started on the actual eyes, I wanted to show you how I do my brows. And I completely forgot to actually remove my brow. You haven't seen, well, a lot of you have not seen my real brow. So I'm gonna go ahead and carefully remove what's on my brow right now. And I'm just gonna powder it up so you guys can get the full effect here. And I'm gonna show you how I do it. Pretty scary, huh? This is what happens when your parents don't have much hair and you're born with very thin hair yourself, and then you start tweezing at 12 years old and you screw up your brows and then they never grow back. I've even tried Latisse. It kind of helped to an extent, but not so much. So with the brows, this is what I do. I'm going to use, let's see here. Oh, my brow pencil is inside here. This is the Benefit Goof Proof brow pencil in number 6. Goof Proof brow pencil. I like to start with a baseline. So I just kind of go across and I establish my arch and I roll down to the tail. And now I'm gonna grow my arch higher by filling in above where the hair grows. So I'm going higher till right about there. So now I've established my arch, looking pretty high. And now I'm gonna start working my way in very lightly, feather strokes to ombre the beginnings. So I'm going very, very light with my touch as I get to the beginnings of the brow. And you can always use your finger to kind of wipe off any excess product. You can also use a spoolie at the other end to blend in and make sure everything just looks phenomenal. So that is how I do my brows the, you know, easy way with one product. There are days where I want to like go super on fleek, so I'll use concealer and I'll do all these other things too, but I tend to always, like I said, I'm always in a hurry, even on my photo shoot days, and I just don't have time to do all that stuff. So I go very light in the beginning. Just remember to go really light. The part that you can go darker is on the arch. So arch and tail, I tend to just kind of go nuts. And everything else, I go very soft and natural. And we're gonna blend as needed. I'm gonna thicken this one up a little bit to match the other side. And remember, go very soft when you're doing that inner portion. Okay, so now that the brows are done, I'm ready to show you the actual eye look, which should not take more than a few minutes. Once you kind of get the hang of everything, it really should come, you know, kind of easy for you guys. I have on lash extensions. Sydney Lee, my lash specialist, she does my lashes every 3 weeks. So all I do with my lashes, with my top lashes, is I use a clean spoolie to brush them. So I'm just brushing them up so that they don't like fold back into my eye while I'm trying to do all this crazy stuff. By the way, Sydney Lee is going to be my model for the Halloween special coming up. So if you guys have any questions about lash extensions, eyebrow tattoos, anything at all, you can ask her because she's going to be a part of the Q&A for that class too. So I'm super excited for that. So now that this is done, let's go ahead and do the eyes and get this done with. So for the eyes, we're going to use 2 different palettes. We're going to use the Modern Renaissance palette for just a couple colors. And I'm going to use the Noir color from my Tamana palette, which is like not available anymore. I'm so sorry. It's been like over 2 years, almost 3 years since it's been gone. But this color right here, Noir, AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com still has it. So you can get that by itself. Definitely get that by itself. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to go in. Ooh, I got powder like all over me. We're gonna go in with a small flat brush. This one in particular is from MAC. It is number 239 from MAC. It's just a flat shader brush. And I'm gonna go in with this color called Tempera right here. It's just an off-white matte. And I'm going to apply this right under my brow to highlight. Okay, so I literally just slid it on, no big deal. No blending involved. You guys are gonna learn in my class, if you guys are new, that I'm not really into blending eyeshadow. I just overlap a lot. But I don't like to waste my time blending. So we got the underbrows on, very easy, simple. Same color, I'm gonna go ahead and pack it on my lid. What I'm doing is I'm using the whole flat side of the brush and I'm sliding it. I'm literally pressing it on my lid and sliding it across to brighten up my eyelid. And this technique works really well for those of you who have small eyelids. Using a light color across your entire eyelid and going kind of high almost into the crease is going to make your eyelid look larger. So this makeup look is actually awesome for small eyes to make them look bigger. I never felt like I had big eyes, even though a lot of random people tell me, oh, you have nice big eyes, but it's the way you do makeup that makes them look big. Without makeup, my eyes are very bitty small. I have hooded lids. But when I go high into my lid with the light color, you can't really tell that there's a hood. Like both of my eyes are a little different. Like basically over here I have one crease, and over here it's more hooded than this side. So, and over here I have like 2-3 lines in my crease, and this one I have 1 or 2 lines in my crease. So they end up never looking the same in photographs. So the way that I have learned that looks best when I do photo shoots is when I go really light all the way up to the crease, so that I can basically hide those folds, those lines that drive me nuts. I'm also gonna brighten up the inner corner of my eyes. There. Okay, so that is done. Now we're going to use a blending brush to add a little bit of transition color into the crease. The first brush I'm going to use is Morphe E22. And this is just a very dense, fluffy blending brush. And I'm going to go into this color called Warm Taupe. Warm Taupe right here from the Modern Renaissance palette. So far we've only used Tempera and Warm Taupe from Modern Renaissance palette. And I'm just going to give myself a warm wash of color right in the upper crease region. So this is only to help me figure out my shaping, that's it. And as a transition basically. So I'm just going into my upper crease with this, and notice how I didn't really have to blend because this brush is so fluffy that it kind of just does the blending for you. All you have to do is the windshield wiper movement and you're kind of good to go. So now that that's done, I'm gonna go in with another one of my favorite Morphe brushes ever. It's a really tiny kind of a squirrel brush. It's actually, there's a couple that I can show you. But this one in particular, it's not that small. It's just really sharp. This one's M411. M411. It's just very sharp and tapered. It's from their Flawless collection. And I'm gonna go into Noir. This is the blackest black color from Anastasia Beverly Hills Noir. I'm only dipping the tip of the brush into that color, and I am darkening up this outer corner of my crease. Can you guys see what I'm doing? And literally like sketching a cut crease. So essentially this look is gonna look kind of like a cut crease, but it's just not gonna be as sharp as our typical cut creases are. It's basically just gonna look like a blended cut crease. So we're just darkening up with black on this outer section of the eye. And we are gonna extend it a little bit into a little bit of a point. This does take some practice and it does require the right tools. So if you don't have a brush that's pointy enough like this, I suggest you get it. Again, this is 411, brush number 411 from Morphe. And I'm gonna just kind of go really sharp as I go in. So I'm not exactly blending, I'm just kind of shoving product over. Now with that original blending brush, the Morphe E22 that we were using, I'm gonna use whatever's left on that brush just to overlap between the black and that whitish color that we used originally. So there's a little bit more of a transition there. So now you can see kind of like a very mod cat eye. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side, starting with that outer corner, really creating a dense color in there. I want it to be really dark and really saturated with black. And I'm just using the very tip of the brush to start sketching into the cut crease shape. I'm much darker on the outer 2/3 of the eye than I am on that inner third of the eye. you can absolutely use your fingers to further blend if you need to. But I really just want it super saturated, super sharp, and very black out here, and going out into a little bit of a point. This is gonna extend your eye and make it look bigger. All right, now going back into that previous brush with a little bit of warm taupe on it, we're going to overlap the top of the black into that light color under the brow so that it doesn't look choppy. And I'm just gonna make sure, I'm gonna lift my brow so I can see the blend a little bit better. I'm gonna make sure this black looks like perfect. So I want it really, really dark. So if that means kind of going back and forth, that's totally fine. I tend to do a lot of the back and forth thing. All right, so I'm starting to see what I want, which is just a very, very dark, smoky cut crease, as you can see. Now to clean it up even more, we're gonna go back in with that same flat MAC brush that we had before with that light color and clean up the lower edge. So if there's any area that got smudged from all that black blending, this is where I cleaned it up. So you can actually use your other hand to pull down your lid, and then you can see a little bit clearer how sharp your cut crease is. So now that that's all done, we can actually go right in and start working on our eyeliner. So with the eyeliner, it's actually, I do it really easily. I just pretty much use a pencil. Sometimes I'll use a liquid, but these days I've just been so into pencils. So let me show you with the Girlactic Black Automatic Eye Pencil. This is what it looks like. It's just an angled eye pencil. You roll it up to sharpen. And I'm gonna color in my entire waterline first. And I'm gonna go really thick underneath, all the way from corner to corner. If you guys have small eyes, this is what makes the eyes look bigger again, because you're going really thick with the black. If you just make a thin black line inside, it's gonna close your eyes, but if you spill over and go really smoky and thick, it makes the eyes look bigger again. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to create a little bit of a wing. And before that wing sets, I'm going to grab an angled brush. This is Morphe E29. It's an angled brush. It's just a clean angled brush, there's nothing on it. And I'm gonna extend my wing out. And that's how I can get a really perfect wing without having to use a liquid liner and mess it up, and also without having to use a gel. So I just put pencil there, and then I extend it before the pencil can set. I extend it with a nice sharp brush. Okay, don't worry about this looking messy. It's gonna look messy until we add eyeshadow to it. That's the next step. So again, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna go nuts with the eyeliner. We're gonna bring it all the way out of the lash line. I'm going really thick and heavy with this. It's gonna look scary before it looks good. Don't be frightened. And now I'm gonna extend a wing. And I'm gonna use a clean brush to move this product into the perfect wing here. If I need to add more product, I'm just gonna go ahead and add it and lightly move it over. And that's pretty much it with the wing. It's super easy. I'm also going to very thinly add eyeliner to the roots of my lashes. So I'm not going super, super thick with it because I want my lid space to stay really large. If you guys have a big eyelid, then you can go really thick with this too. But I don't have a huge eyelid in my opinion. I'm trying to make it look bigger. So I'm gonna go really thin with my eyeliner until I hit the wing. So once I hit the wing, back to that angled brush, and I'm gonna connect that top line into the wing that we made originally. So it all just looks very nice and uniform. If I need to use more product, I just put more product there and blend it into the eye look. Okay, now I can kind of even out the rest of my eyeliner. And make sure everything looks really good. Okay, ignore the bottoms, by the way. We still are not done blending the bottom, but this is just like the top that I want to just get it over with. So back to the Galactic eye pencil, which by the way is so black and so soft. It glides on really good, and it's water resistant, I believe. So it actually, like for me, it stays on like all day. So I'm gonna go in, go really thin. Color in the roots. Now we can go a little thicker once we connect the wing. We're gonna bring this up into our winged liner. And I'm gonna clean up the rest of the shape. All right, so basically our top eyeliner is done. Now it's time to blend and add some softness to the lower lash line. So the first things first, I'm gonna go in with Morphe B19. This is like a small kind of packing brush, detailing brush. I'm going back to the Noir eyeshadow, and I do want to use a tissue. You can also use a shadow shield. I'm going to use a tissue here, and I'm going in with my black eyeshadow, and I'm setting my eyeliner with the black eyeshadow. This is Noir eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So now I have set that. You're gonna set even the waterline, okay, you guys? I know it's like very uncomfortable, but it's going to make your eyes so much more black, and it will stand out a million times more if you do this. And it makes it more waterproof, so there's no risk of anything moving throughout the day. So now that we did that, I'm gonna go in with my flat Morphe brush E43. You could actually use this to set the black too, no problem. E43, I'm gonna go into a dark brown now. So Cypress Umber from the Modern Renaissance palette. I'm gonna hold this up again just to shield me. And I'm gonna apply this dark brown underneath the black. And I'm gonna shade it across to fade everything kind of together. So it basically just softens up that lower edge of the black. Cypress Umber, the dark brown eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So just use it on the edge of the black. Do not cover all the black with this because then you're just gonna lighten up the whole look. Only blend that lower edge of the black, just the lower edge. And you can go as thick as you want. I'm used to going very thick, so I have no problem going nuts with this. I'm going back with the black now so I can redarken my wing and blend down, redarken the wing and blend down. Super smoky and nice. Another thing you can do is with that same dark brown, sometimes what I like to do is once I see how dark my eyes are coming out, sometimes I like to redarken just the empty areas of my brows. So I'm just kind of randomly going in and doing that. All right, now that that's done, it's starting to really, my eyes look huge now. It's insane how crazy, amazing it can look. So now I'm going in with, okay. That same, remember this brush that we used for the nose contouring, the E18? I'm going in with that and I'm going into this color called Custom. It's a silvery, kind of a grayish tone, but it's pretty dark. And I'm gonna use that to just add a little bit more shading underneath my eyes, right in there. And that's just a couple shades lighter than that dark brown that we just put on. So it's basically fading from black to brown to like a taupey color. So it just ends up kind of looking a little bit lighter overall. And you can get a nice effect with that. If you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I think I started, doing too much and now I feel like under my eyes is really dark, go back in with Banana, re-brighten around the eye area. I constantly do this just to make sure that nothing looks like I have dark circles or anything. So anything that falls, just kind of quickly get rid of it right away. So now I'm ready for my mascara. I'm gonna use They're Real by Benefit. And I'm only doing the bottoms because the tops I already have extensions on, so I don't use mascara on the top. So I'm just putting on a nice generous coat of They're Real on my bottom lashes. If you also have false lashes on or extensions and you got some product on it, the best way to take care of that product is to go in with a small angled brush and literally just pick off the fallout. So I'm just using that same angled brush that I used for my wing liner, and I'm swooping off any product that may have stuck to my lashes so that it doesn't look gray in photographs. You could also just use a spoolie too to kind of comb through, but sometimes it just doesn't pick up all that fallout, and I find this to be a little bit more effective. So I'm just cleaning up right now. Okay, and one last thing that I like to do is I like to go in with a small brush, something really small like this G12, back to the black, the Noir eyeshadow, and I like to really pack on this little outer corner here. It just makes it meet the wing a lot sharper, and it looks so sexy in photographs to have that really, really sharp connection right there. And again, just dust off any fallout. And you can see already like what a difference it makes. It's insane how clean just one more step can look. So again, I'm just meeting with the wing. And sharpening up this lower edge here. There we go. Cool. All right, we are officially done with eyes. Literally, I think we only used 3 colors mainly, and then we just added a couple shades on the bottom. So again, just to reiterate what we did, we put the Modern Renaissance palette Tempera under the brow bone and across the entire lid in a pressing and sliding motion, not a whole lot of fluffing. You never want to fluff because then fallout just goes everywhere. So you want to do more of a press and slide motion. Then we added warm taupe, which is like a softer brown in the crease just to create a shape. And then we used Noir, the blackest black from Anastasia Beverly Hills, right in that corner, and we brought it into the crease in a sharp line using a small brush. You just want to use small brushes for this stuff. Bigger brushes are going to do more blending, smaller brushes are going to be doing more depositing. I really wanted that sharp deposit of black, so I used the smaller brush for those. And then for the bottom, once we did the eyeliner, we set it with black, and then we moved it to a dark brown, and then we moved that to like a silvery gray, and that kind of creates this really sexy, smoky look underneath the eyes, and that's basically it. 3 or 4 colors, you can get the whole effect really nicely. So now all we need to do is the lips, and then we'll pretty much be done with this look. Let's see. It's not sour this time. Okay, I'll use spice. So I'm gonna line my lips. And I'm going to ombre these outer portions. So right here, I'm gonna fill it in on this outer portion. Also, with the pregnancy, my lips became so poofy, but mainly the bottom became poofy, and my top kind of remained the same. So I have to overline my top significantly to kind of match. I don't know what's up with my hormones, but pretty much everything's poofing out. Okay, so now I have this ombre thing going on top. We're gonna do the same on the bottom. Okay, so this is the lip liner. Next, we are going to use Naked Liquid Lipstick by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I mainly focus it on the center, and then I'm going to use a brush to blend the edges. So let's see which brush. I'm going to use the Morphe E19 brush. And that's just going to help blend it into my lip liner and soften the edges. Okay. I think I do want to go a little bit lighter, so I'm just gonna put on one more coat just to further brighten. There we go. And now the little trick, the metallic trick. So I'm going back in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit. And I'm gonna use the same glow that I used on my face, which I'll just add a little bit more of that too. I'm gonna use that on my lips. So with the same E19 brush, I'm going in with white sand. And I'm patting it across my lip. Right across the center. And I'm also going to do the same on the top lip. This is going to make the color look more metallic and just very, very sexy, I think. And you can even, if you don't have a highlighter, you can use an eyeshadow to do this too. And now you have the option of either adding gloss or leaving it as is. So if I wanted to just leave this as is, that's fine. It still looks super shiny and really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit of highlight, a little more highlight here. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlight brush. So if I want to add a little bit more highlight, I can do that now. I can even go back in, re-brighten my under eye dark circles. This is just with banana powder from Anastasia as well. Wow, I just noticed a lot of the stuff I'm using today is Anastasia. Okay, and now if you guys want to see how it looks like with gloss, I can put on a little bit of gloss for you and you can see what it looks like. But basically, this is how it looks without the gloss. So I'll go ahead and maybe pose for you if you want to take any screenshots or anything and remember what we did, you know, feel free to do that. If you do post anything, I would love to see it and like it. You can hashtag Dress Your Face Live on your posts. As long as your Instagram profile is public, I'll be able to see it. Or you could tag me in the post as well so I can see it that way as well. But yeah, if you hashtag Dress Your Face Live, I'll be able to see it too. So this is what it looks like without the gloss. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw on some gloss now. This is Mac Bared for You. Mac Bared for You. And I'm just using that all over, and now you can see how super shiny, like this is insane. My lips look enormous right now, but this is with that shine, and this is how we got those really, really intense shots with the mirror and everything just looking really shiny and really nice. So I'm just gonna pose for you. If you wanna take any pictures of this, feel free. I'm not gonna feel weirded out or anything. But I'll go ahead and just pose for you so you guys can get different angles and see what this all looks like. And that is it, you guys. If you guys did this with me step by step, I would love to see your recreations. Again, whatever you're posting that is related to this class or any of my online classes, hashtag Dress Your Face Live. let everyone know what you learned. Tell me what your favorite part about class was so I can make sure that you keep loving this membership. I never want you to feel like I didn't help you or I didn't answer your questions. So make sure you are being interactive with me so I can be more interactive with you as well. I love to see your guys' posts. Again, private profiles, I'm not going to be able to see it at all. So if you have a public profile, then definitely post so I can see it. But yeah, this is the full look, and now I get to answer questions. But let me clean my blouse. Ooh, okay, so let's go ahead and answer questions. I'm gonna go ahead and we have 10 minutes to answer popular questions here. So there is one question that I noticed from earlier regarding pores. Somebody was asking, let me see where it is here. Oh, I don't see it anymore. Let me load more. Oh, there it is. Okay. S. Sadis is asking, I am a new member. I love, 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 love your work. I have a question about flawless makeup. I have huge pores on my cheeks. I use Laura Mercier primer. Then I use Professional by Benefit. After that, I apply the foundation and concealer as you taught, full coverage MAC powder, but I can still somehow see my pores on my cheeks. Basically, what do I do? So here's the thing about pores. If there's a client or if it's yourself and there's large pores, there's not a lot of products out there that's actually going to be able to cover or fill in at all those larger pores. It can do a big difference. It can hide it a big amount. But as far as really deep pores, I haven't come across any product that fully fills it in completely. So it's very hard to, recommend a product that can actually do that unless I've seen it for myself and be like, yeah, this is gonna do it. The reason why I love Benefit Professional is because when I've used it on my clients, my brides, even with larger pore size, it does help to minimize it as much as possible. It's done the best job that I've tried in so many different brands. So that's why I keep recommending that one. Now you want to stick with silicone-based products to fill in as much as possible. You also want to make sure that when you're applying foundation over it, you're not wiping the foundation off because it's going to wipe off all that balm underneath too. So you want to do more packing motion to pack into those pores. And then afterward, keep everything mattified. If you add shimmer like this, your pores are going to show up even more. So skip the shimmer, keep everything matte, full coverage, pack. And in pictures, it shouldn't show either. It would not show at all, or if it does show, it's going to be so minimal that it's not really going to be noticeable. But when you're this close to yourself and you're looking in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, you're going to be able to notice it if you have larger pores. So there are some skin treatments out there like laser resurfacing, microdermabrasion, those kind of things, but they're all pretty abrasive and pretty expensive. So I wouldn't recommend it if you have super sensitive skin. But if you don't have super sensitive skin and you're willing to go that extra mile and see what you want to do with your skin, you can always talk to an esthetician or someone who is really knowledgeable about that kind of stuff, and you can see how you can resurface your skin so that the pore size isn't so big, and then when you're using those products, it should minimize a lot more that way. So hopefully you can find a good solution to your question. Let's go ahead and answer some other questions here. Okay, Nina is asking, I have really oily skin, especially on my T-zone, and after 1 hour, my makeup separates on that zone. I've actually seen that a lot with so many different people. I try to set it with a lot of powder like you've mentioned, but it still doesn't work. What should I do? So one of the things that I did notice that can help with that separation, especially for extremely oily people, how if you put powder on, it usually should help. But for people that have extremely oily skin, which it sounds like your skin does accumulate more oil on those areas, oil is like our worst nightmare when it comes to makeup because it literally eats through makeup. So no matter how much powder you put on, if that's how much oil you have built up, it's going to eat through it. So there are a couple products out there that can help to minimize that. One is using an astringent underneath your makeup. So underneath your primer, underneath everything, the first thing that you put on is either a spray, or with a cotton ball you can use something that can tighten up your pores and kind of dry up those areas a little bit. There's actually a spray that I use for those type of clients that tell me ahead of time that their skin like literally oils up so quickly, or if they're doing a photo shoot and they're gonna sweat a lot. There's a spray from Cinema Secrets called the Super Sealer, and that is a mattifying sweat stopper. Like literally it stops you from sweating in those areas. And I spray that all over the face if the whole face gets really greasy, or you can just use it on the nose or wherever you need it. And then I do the makeup. And then I pat on I don't use a lot of cream product. I do foundation and everything, but I don't put cream contour on the nose on those situations at all because that slides a lot. So I only do like, let's do foundation, and we'll do a ton of powder over the foundation, and then I bronze using a powder contour kit rather than a cream contour kit. And that usually helps. And then at the end, do that Super Sealer spray again. And it's almost like a sandwich, and it kind of keeps everything on. And all my brides that have used it, when I've used it on them, they've all had like perfectly fine skin, nothing ever separated. But another thing that you can do is keep oil blotting sheets on you. So if you ever notice any oil actually breaking through, just go ahead and absorb it right away with the oil blotting sheets. So see if that works for you. And you know, hopefully that does the trick. Another thing that I do is, in addition to the foundation that I use around the nose for those situations, I also use the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I dab it on and I let it dry. It's a dry consistency, and it usually helps as another barrier to prevent the nose or the T-zone from cracking up from all the oil. Let's see. What else? Okay, so Kristen LXO is saying, if I apply contour bronzer on someone and it's too gray and it looks like a bruise, how can it be corrected? I've tried adding a warm tone bronzer over it and it doesn't seem to work. And I've tried brightening it with a banana powder and it made it even worse. How can you correct it without having to restart all over? So let's say you've already done the makeup and you're doing that contour bronzer like you're saying. If you notice that it's looking too gray, there's actually a color from Anastasia called L'Orange. Looks like this, L'Orange, and it is a corrector. And you can use that to warm up anything that looks too gray. So that's something that I've done in the past. I've actually done a bronzer on a deeper toned woman and it looked kind of ashy to me. So I added that L'Orange to it and it kind of did the trick. If that still isn't enough, yeah, if you use banana or anything lighter, it's going to go even more ashy. So stay away from going lighter. You basically just want to go really orange over the gray areas to combat the ashiness. So that should do the trick. If worse come to worse, nothing's working, use a dry paper towel, just a dry paper towel. Wipe off very surfacey, like don't press hard when you're wiping off, but just go like this, like a light feather stroking. Do that over and over until you notice that the bronzer is starting to come off on your paper towel. Soft paper towels like Viva paper towels from the grocery store are really good for that because it's textured a little bit, but it's still soft, so it won't scratch her face, it won't make her turn red or anything. So just do that over and over and it'll pick up some of that product, and then you can kind of almost start over without ruining the rest of her makeup. So that's like my worst case scenario resort. Okay, we have time for a few more questions here. Oh, BeautyMD _ is saying, is there a certain technique to use for those who have facial hair? So if you're working on someone with peach fuzz, like I have peach fuzz, I have, you know, the sideburn peach fuzz. I don't thread my face. I don't remove any hair from my face, especially one time I tried, well, a few times I tried to do the laser hair removal on my, above my lip for the mustache area, and I got burned so badly, I'm like traumatized, so I won't do anything to my face anymore when it comes to hair removal. So with that said, when you're doing makeup on someone that has hair on their face, you want to go in a downward motion. When you're blending, you want to apply in a downward motion, so it's basically flattening up the hair. And you definitely want to make sure that you're not doing any round or upward motions, because then it's going to make the hair stick up and it's going to show in close-up photographs. So everything downward, everything flat, basically that's the only real difference that I do for that type of situation. All right, let's see. A lot of questions about under eye creasing and things like that. I get those questions all the time. Basically with under eyes, when you do your concealer, first of all, I really recommend the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer for clients that have the under eye line, so that it doesn't crease as fast, and you have to set it with a lot of powder and just pack it in. So don't use so much concealer, use a little bit less concealer so it's a little bit more dry consistency, and so it dries up nice and tight, and then pack on a lot of powder under there so that the oil of the concealer doesn't let it move around and crease up. So it's got to be a little bit drier consistency. The only drawback is if someone has really dry eyes or fine lines or wrinkles around their eye area, it's going to show up, because when you put a lot of powder on someone who has dry wrinkles around their eyes, it looks even drier and more wrinkly. So that's the only drawback. For those clients, you are not going to be able to do so much of that, but for others, you absolutely can. A lot of requests to bring back the marketing class, so maybe we'll do a special next month on that. IA2911 is asking, can you use translucent powder to set the highlight and contour? You absolutely can, but the reason why I prefer Studio Fix full coverage is because it looks more flawless on camera and in photo shoots, and even in person it looks amazing. All my followers that come meet me at my meet and greets and stuff, they see my face up close and they always say, oh my god, it looks perfect up close, you don't look cakey at all. Because people assume that if it looks good in pictures, it looks cakey in person, but it really doesn't. Like it looks so smooth and so good in person. So I prefer to do it that way. I actually do not even carry translucent powder in my kit. As you're watching my classes and as you become a bigger part of DYFL, you'll know more about me and more about why I do things the way I do. But I definitely, you can use translucent, absolutely. You could do the baking method as well, but there's no need to do any of that if you're using Studio Fix or any full coverage powders. It's Shmi is asking, do you use any setting sprays to bring it all together to make the powder settle into the skin? I actually don't use any setting sprays unless, like I said earlier, if my clients have super oily skin, then okay, I'll use that super sealer from Cinema Secrets. But other than that, I don't use a setting spray. If my client requested, I mean, I do have them, so if they requested, I can do it. But the thing is, when I do makeup, it doesn't look powdery. It doesn't look so white or ghostly or unfinished or whatever. It looks like skin, and that's also because I use highlight over it and it ends up looking like skin. It has a little bit of that luminescence to it, and so my clients usually don't even think to ask me to do that spray. I just find it pointless unless they have super oily skin, and even then the makeup techniques usually withstand all of that stuff. If you really want it to settle a little bit more, and if you have an issue with all that powder and you're just like, ugh, I don't like this look, I really want it to look more dewy, then in that case, the MAC Mineralized Spray gives you that dewiness. It has a little bit of oil in it, and it just kind of gives you this like hydrated effect, which I personally am not into, but a lot of people are. So if that's something that you want to do, you can absolutely do a spray like that. I'm trying to see one last question to answer. You guys are so amazing. There's so many questions, but we're already running over time, so I'm going to try to pick and choose. Okay, I'll answer some quick ones real quick, like a couple more. Dominican makeup artist is asking, do you use a sponge damp or dry? Love the look. Thank you. I use all my sponges dry. If you use it damp, it actually blends better, but it also kind of dilutes the coverage a little bit in my opinion. So I try to just use it dry. I just prefer it that way, but most people do use it damp because it's a little bit easier to use it damp. Another question, do the brand of brushes make a difference to apply makeup? This was asked by Makeup by Moni. The brands, to me, doesn't make a huge difference. The reason why I prefer Morphe is because they're so inexpensive and they're very easy to order online, and they have literally every shape you could ever want. So I typically mainly use that. I have a bunch of MAC ones too that I've had for like 15 years and they're still doing really well. So those are the main ones that I carry. There's there's a few others that I really like too. Like, for example, this really gorgeous one from Japanesque is just, oh my God, it's so amazing and it's so luxurious. And I just love this Kumadori style. It's very ancient in Japan, and I have a lot of respect for Japanese art. So I do collect these as well, and I very rarely use them because I just don't want to get them messed up, but they won't get messed up. It's real hair. It's amazing. So, but no, I don't feel like the brands make a huge difference. I think you have to actually like the feel of it and the density of it. I feel like the quality makes a difference, but more than anything, for me, it's the shape and the density. So if a brush is really dense, it's gonna give you more color payoff. If it's very light and bristly, then it's not gonna deposit as much. It's gonna be more sheer in coverage with whatever you're using it for. So those are just some things that you're gonna learn as you're playing with brushes and figuring out what you want. But what I normally tell my students, for example, when they come into class is, go to Morphe, get, a basic set, learn with that, and then start building up. And if you ever want to invest in a very, very premium artistry set, then pick and choose which ones you really need. You don't have to buy like an entire set, because what happens sometimes if you buy an entire set of brushes, half of them you're not even going to use. I like to pick and choose and create my own set. And one day, you guys, you are going to see some things from me, some creations from me to make your lives a little bit easier. So stay tuned for all those things. 2017 is going to be an amazing year, God willing. So, maybe I can make your lives easier with the right tools. Hint, hint. But until then, these are some great options. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and end this. I know, again, a lot of you were, kind of confused about why is there an echo. It's because I do have a microphone and we are in a studio. So sometimes there is a little bit of an echo, but usually logging off and logging back in can help it. A lot of it can also do with your internet speed. If your internet speed is a little bit, on the slower side, the image is going to look a little different and the sound is going to, sound a little different. It could be buffering and things like that. We are super high definition. We shoot on the best equipment because I want to make sure that when you do watch it over and over again, you're watching it very clearly. So that's why we do invest in these kind of things, and it's not just a regular webcam with no problems. I really want it to be high definition. So we choose really, really high-tech stuff for you. So I'm so sorry if the live stream is just a little bit frustrating, but believe me, once you see the actual episode online, it usually takes about 24 hours for us to get it up or less, to get it up on the website. And once it's up on the website, you guys can watch it over and over again and there's no issues. It's just amazing. But you still need high-speed internet. So that's one thing that you should always remember when you're doing any type of live streaming or streaming a video, anything like that, even watching YouTube. It's good to have high-speed internet so you can see the full quality and you can really see everything very clearly without any buffering or anything like that. So if you guys have any questions about like technical stuff, you can always email right on the home page. If you go all the way down to the contact section, it'll take you to the FAQ as well as the contact page. So you can contact our customer service and they will involve tech support to make sure that you are taken care of, and they're very fast. Like, you'll get a response usually within one day. If it's a weekend, sometimes it can take more than a day, but usually it's within the same day you'll get a response and you'll be able to be taken care of. And that's for anything DYFL related, that's where you're gonna go. If you wanna email directly, it's info@dressyourfacelive.com. simple. info@dressyourfacelive.com. So thank you guys so much for watching. I had a great time teaching you. I'm not used to doing my own makeup on camera very often, but I try to do it as much as I can because I think it's kind of fun learning how to do it on yourself too. But I do usually teach on a model. So the next class is going to be on a model and you guys are gonna love it. And if you guys have any questions about classes, always check the homepage on dressyourfacelive.com. The whole schedule is there. Up to a few classes in advance, and then the whole available to watch now list is there as well. So sometimes there's like surprises, so I like to make sure you guys are on the homepage often so that you can catch those surprises. Sometimes I bring back old classes that are super highly requested. If you guys are requesting a specific class, you can write into customer service and they'll tell me, hey, you got so many requests for this class, when do you want to bring it back? And then I plan a date to bring it back for you guys. So I'm constantly making sure that you guys are happy. And also, if there's any class schedule changes, like sometimes what happens, especially now with this pregnancy, you know, as we get later in the year, things are going to be, you know, kind of well, not very unpredictable because I work here anyways, but you know, in case there's any changes, always check the homepage for the latest news on when the next class is and what the topic is, okay? I'll see you guys next time. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week for the next class. Bye.